Right. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this all in one thing or if it's going to be in a couple different videos. We'll see how long I talk about them. I know issue 2, I have a lot to say. But we're going to talk about these Chaos Comic 1, 2, and 3 here. I don't know if there was supposed to be another one and it got canceled or whatever, but it could have went on, but it did not. So this one was so much better than Night Dance to me. Oh my god, this is so much more my style. It is an actual story. It has all sorts of connections to the first one, homages, all sorts of things. Alright, so we start in Warren County, and Tommy Doyle is writing a book. This takes place after Halloween 6 and acknowledges them. It doesn't actually outright say Stephen. I don't know if that's the name he keeps or whatever, but Jamie Lloyd's son that Tommy Doyle finds in the bathroom at the bus station, and takes care of. That is mentioned somewhere in the text there, so I thought that was pretty cool. There's a lot of nods. I'm going to be pointing them out throughout this whole video. We get a nod to Charles Cyphers here. One of the names is just the last names of random characters. There's tons of them throughout here. And a nod to John Carpenter. That's an obvious one. Dr. Loomis is treating Michael in this, which is really cool to see. And he's even talking to his mom on the phone, which in this version, her name is Audrey, which is what Michael Myers' middle name is, so that makes sense. But in the original movie, it is not Audrey, it is Edith. So that's a change. There's some weird changes here and there that's being made that I didn't really feel like it was necessary. Like, why not just call it Edith? But I think she's only, I don't know if she's referred to as Edith in the novelization. I think that's what it is. But I guess you didn't have to keep it. And Audrey makes a little more sense because of Michael's middle name. We find out we have another character named last name Wallace, so I'm guessing that's a nod to Tommy Lee Wallace. And we find out that Loomis has a girlfriend here that he ends up getting engaged to in the hospital. She's like another doctor there with him. So I thought that was kind of cool to see a little bit of his dating life, but like it got in the way of his obsession of Michael. Like, Michael just fucking ruined his relationship. And so, he just kind of falls apart. And Michael is probably responsible for other deaths in the prison, which I thought was cool to see. Like, Michael interacting with other inmates and him not just sitting in a room, staring at a wall, staring through, no, there's like other people in there. You have to deal with other people, and especially in the beginning before they like isolated him. So I like to see that. And yeah, these pose a lot of interesting questions. Some I'm into, some I'm not so much into, but we'll see. And Michael kills freaking Dr. Loomis's fiance. Now that's huge. That right there is huge. Now he's got a vendetta. Now he's got now he has reason why he wouldn't want Michael out. Now I really understand his obsession. Like, he realized that he wasn't paying enough attention to his fiance. He was letting all that go away because he was fucking off in Michael land, and then Michael kills her while he's treating him. Oh my good God, yeah, that would weigh on your conscience like crazy. And then Tommy shoots Michael a bunch of times and sets his face on fire. And he runs out, or fucking falls out the window. I don't know how he gets a new mask in this. We're going to be talking spoilers for all 3 here. So just so you're aware, I'm going to talk about stuff that happens later on, obviously. But as I should say, how she gets another mask. So I just thought that was interesting. Like, she just have a cachet of them. Like, she have a whole fucking trunk full. Because in the next one, her mask is not burnt. But whatever. Because she does have the mask. That's what I thought was cool. I'll get into that later about how she has the mask. But then Tommy in this looks nothing like Paul Rudd. I'm not sure why. Maybe they couldn't get the likeness rights. I'm not sure. One of the characters has the last name Castle. Obviously a nod to Nick Castle. I like that all the bullies that were picking on Tommy are in this. Richie, the kid who runs into Michael. He is in this, and he is like, a failed salesman or something. And then we got Lonnie and Keith, which I never knew Keith's name, but yeah, Lonnie Elam. He said to never go up there. Said awful stuff happened there once. Lonnie Lamb will never get out of the first grade. Shit. So yeah, Keith still picking on Tommy. There's fucking Lonnie is still going to town. Brackett shows up, and Brackett accidentally kills Richie, thinking that he's Michael. Little flashback there of the hillbillies who go out and kill freaking Ted Hollister. There you go. I was like, can I get this? Come on, Halloween trivia is my shit. So yeah, and then one thing I found really weird is that the gore is graphic and all that, but then the curse words are censored. Why? That was weird. We found out that Haddon came from the word Hayden, which means cursed in Druid. I don't know, whatever. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I like that, to play off the title of the town and how it's a cursed town. The Myers bloodline has been cursed for 2,000 years, and girls can read minds and have visions. So that would speak to maybe why Laurie all of a sudden could start flashing back to when she saw Michael in the hospital when she was a kid. She came to visit him, I guess. And also why Jamie Lloyd takes on his sights. Like, she can see through his eyes, and she can predict little things and have some kind of connection to people. So that kind of explains where that comes from. I thought that was cool. And Mrs. Blankenship is mentioned. I thought that was cool from part 6 there, the babysitter of little Mikey Myers. And now here's another thing they changed in this. It says, I like it, but at the same time, like, Michael Myers' birthday in anything I've seen is October 19th. In this one, he was born at like 11:56 on Halloween night, and then he died. He was stillborn, and then his soulless body came back to life on the Day of the Dead, November 1st at like 12:03 a.m. or something, which I thought was kind of cool and neat if we're going to go this Curse of Thorn route, if you're going to play off of that, because at this time these comics were just coming out right after the Halloween H2O. So like, and I like that it's trying to connect the two. It does connect the two outright. So I thought that was cool. This was before Resurrection, but after H2O. Because this is 2001, and I want to say Resurrection's 02, right? Am I right on that? Because it's 98, obviously, for H2O, and Resurrection's 2002. Is it like 4 years later? I can't remember. I think it is. I don't think it's 2000, right? No, it's like 2002 or something. Shit, I could be wrong on that, though. Where are we? Yeah, so they changed that, and then his little birthday, which doesn't really matter because it's never like it's outright said in the movies, to my knowledge. I can't remember any time it's said in the movies. Oh wait, it is in Resurrection, right? Like the serial killer dudes, like Michael Myers, born November 19th or October 19th, 1957 or whatever. I think he says that, but I think this came out before that anyway. So. And now here's something I found really weird, and this doesn't make any sense. Sheriff Brackett says that he dated Judith before he went off to college, and that half the football team did as well. He dated Judith while he was in college, like just about to go off to college. She was 15 years old in the first movie. This is 15 years later, and he has 17-year-old Annie Brackett. So he had a 2-year-old kid right before he went off to college and was fucking a 15-year-old? I mean, it's possible that's true. But whoa. So I don't think that the person who wrote that, like, I think he just wanted to make that connection. He was like, oh, Brackett dated Judith. Like, that'll be a big revelation thing. And it's like, mathematically, that's not working, buddy. Like, that's just not working. But yeah. We get some Men in Black here, not Will Smith. But the druid freaking dudes like Dr. Wynn. And Mike's head is lit on fire 2 issues in a row here. So I thought that was interesting. And moving on to number 3. Maybe I will get this done in under 15 minutes. I doubt it. Now, Brackett dies in a church explosion, so we finally get to know the fate of Lee Brackett. If you want to consider this canon. I don't know, it's loose canon to me. Wynn still runs Smith's Grove after this. I don't know how long this is supposed to take place after Curse, but I would expect it's at least a couple years. This is the issue where Lindsay Wallace comes into it. So I thought it was kind of cool that Lindsay Wallace comes in here. And she is a reporter for some Chicago reporter. I can't remember what it's called. H2O is acknowledged, which I thought was cool. Somebody's character's name is Yablans. Little Irwin Yablans nod there. Annie, Linda, and Bob's headstones are taken, which I thought was kind of cool. Like the murders that were committed that night. Takes them. And the bodies as well. Now Loomis, now here's another change. This is something interesting here to think about. Loomis knew there was a third Myers. He always knew, supposedly, as far as this comic's concerned. But he never knew who it was. That's what we learn in here. He is told that there is a third Myers child somewhere, but he doesn't know. Now, that could work, because he's in the car and he's like, what file? And she's like, Laurie Strode, that's this Jamie, that's Michael Myers' sister. And he's like, what? Can't you see what he's doing here? Like, that doesn't negate, like, if he knew or not. Like, that doesn't completely take away from that. So there is wiggle room there to mess around with that. Because that scene doesn't just outright say, oh, he had a sister, I had no idea why the hell. Like, she was like, they should have told you. You should have told you. But he did know, but I don't, like, he was kind of told in secret, sort of. I don't know. I just don't know how, this is what doesn't make any sense. How did Jamie Lee Curtis. How did Laurie visit Michael, supposedly, in the mental institution when Dr. Loomis was as obsessed with him as he was and fucking hovered over every single thing he did? He would have known who came to fucking visit Michael Myers. How many people fucking visited Michael Myers? How many? Not many. And somehow Laurie Strode is in there and he couldn't figure out that might be the third Myers. I'm sure she was brought in by her parents, right? Edith or Audrey or whatever the fuck her name is. Like, no? Like, I don't know. That's why I don't like the sister connection anyways, because it even doesn't work in the movie. It's like, how does he not know that's her? He knew in 1970, so 8 years before the event. So, like, 7 years in. Right when he decided, like, Michael was a lost cause is when he knew. And something I never really made a connection of until right now. Lindsay sits at the vanity where Judith was brushing her hair when Michael killed her. And I think it's probably because the house is so dramatically different in Halloween 5. Because it's like this big fucking, like, gothic mansion looking place. So I just never in my head, the layout's so different and everything, I just never think of it. But Jamie Lloyd is in sitting at Judith's vanity. Is that what that is in that movie when she's like hitting the brush on the table right there and she's just brushing her hair in the vanity? That's Judith's vanity in Myers' house. I just put that together. That's how fucking different that house is. Right? Like I am right on that. I can't believe it never even dawned on me until right when I was reading this and I saw Lindsay sitting there and I was like, oh, that's like when she's in it. It kind of reminds me of even when Jamie Lloyd's sitting there and I'm like, oh, wait, is that supposed to be the same vanity? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Yeah, just put that together. Sue me. But anyway. And then we find out that Laurie Strode is the killer. This is where you can play with comics. Like, comics have that liberty to mess around with whatever you want. Because if you tried to pull that shit in a movie, if you would have done Halloween Resurrection, let's say, because that's what happens in this. H2O, she cuts Michael's heads. He has multiple heads. Head off. It rolls away. So she has the mask. The head's never found. So she took the mask and the head, and then she donned the mask, which I'm just... No one could tell that was a much smaller person. Like, Laurie Strode is not a very big woman. Like, she is short. And, like, Michael Myers, like, last time you saw him, Tommy, you've seen him twice, dude. You saw him when you were a kid. You saw him once when you were beating his ass with a lead pipe, depending on what version you watch, obviously. But I'm going to guess, because it's theatrical and the producer's cut wasn't readily available when this was written, that we're going off theatrical. He beat the shit out of him, and it was a huge man. I mean, George P. Wilbur is a big man in that movie. And then all of a sudden, he's Jamie fucking Lee Curtis size. He's Laurie Strode size. No one noticed that? He thought he was on, like, Weight Watchers or something? I don't get that. Even that, it wouldn't shrink him. He's getting older, though, right? People shrink when they get older. So, yeah, you could never pull that shit in the movie. Never, ever, 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 ever. So she kills him, and it says, like, she couldn't live without him. And it, like, runs in the family, so maybe the curse was passed off on her. And then we get, like, this Psycho homage where, like, the doctor's sitting there and explaining her psychosis, and she's sitting there, and the doctor's name is Dr. Block, like, you know, the dude who wrote Psycho. So I thought that was kind of cool, because obviously Halloween is already an homage to Psycho with Dr. Sam Loomis and, you know, casting Janet Leigh's kid and everything. Like, Carpenter has made no, like, secret that he definitely did a ton of Psycho homages in it. So I thought it was kind of cool that they wrapped this up with a Psycho homage and gave a nod to the writer of the book. And Tommy dies. Tommy dies in this, and Lindsay lives. So, but there's no real mention of Stephen, and there's no mention of John Tate, you know, freaking her son in H2O. So, as I said, this could have went on. Lindsay could have went on and found John Tate, and she could have, like, this could have went a couple more issues if they really wanted to. It didn't need to. Like, Jamie, like, she was in jail. Like, what was she gonna do? Break out, and then there was gonna be another Michael, or maybe fucking Wynn was gonna be Michael this time. Who knows? But yeah, Wynn will break her out. There you go. They'll put her in Smith's Grove, and Wynn could get her out again. That works. There you go. But yeah, just no, like, direct, outside of, like, it mentioning that he helped save Jamie Lloyd's baby. We don't get any real, like, we don't see him in the book. We don't see Stephen in the book, and we don't see John or hear John's name or anything. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun to break down. It was fun to read. Hi, it's Barbie. What the hell? The kids are... Anyways, yeah, I dug it. It was way, oh my God, man. Like, over this freaking thing, this is pretty boring to read for me. These had a lot of really interesting, unique ideas, whether I agreed with them or not. I liked it. I liked that it was a continuation of 6 and actually branched 6 to 7 and wasn't outright ignoring it. So I had a good time. There was a lot of fun stuff in here. So anyways, obviously, maybe you haven't read them and you're just like, there you go. There's the rundown. It's everything that happens in it. There's all the connections that I could find. Please let me know if I missed some, if there's more homages, if I'm wrong about something, whatever. Of course, leave it down below. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Who has these? Who's read them? What do you guys think? What do you agree on? What do you disagree on? But yeah, I'll look for your comments. All right, guys.